Two top 30 basketball players to ever walk this planet are at the forefront of the NBA trade rumor mill. We're going to discuss where they might land this summer on today's show. So you predicted for me down in the comments section before we get started. Where do KD and Giannis end up? What's going on, Hoopheads? You're watching NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and on today's show, we have the latest trade rumors on Giannis and KD because Charania, along with many NBA insiders around the league, have the new details and new destinations potentially for these two superstars. And we're going to get started on today's show with KD because that seems like the more likelier trade at this point. John Gambadoro of AZ Sports over there in Phoenix, a radio host, he came out with this statement saying, I expect a Kevin Durant deal will happen right before the NBA draft. And obviously, with the new CBA, a lot of teams don't have a ton of cap space, and this NBA draft cycle is very, very promising. And a lot of teams are going to want those selections in that first round. So any deal for these megastars in this league are likely going to happen before the NBA draft, so the teams that are sending them away can get draft assets immediately in return. And Kelly Iko of The Athletic, who reports on the Houston Rockets, have said that the Suns have, quote, gradually lowered their Kevin Durant asking price at this point. Doesn't seem like there's too much big interest to send away, multiple years worth of first-round draft picks or, very high top 10 overall selections this season to get Durant. So the Suns look like they're lowering the KD asking price at this point. And according to Charania of ESPN, he says that there's 4 to 6 teams that are, quote, seriously interested in a KD trade. With him being 37 years old, doesn't exactly match the timeline of everybody in the league because, in any other scenario, Kevin Durant would be the most sought-after trade target in the NBA. But as far as teams that have some reported interest in Kevin Durant, the San Antonio Spurs are definitely at the top of the list. There was a deal potentially talked about at the trade deadline, a mutual interest way back when. Houston, Kelly Iko has been long reporting this Kevin Durant trade saga surrounding the Houston Rockets. They have multiple pieces that Phoenix would want back potentially in a deal. Minnesota, KD and Edwards together, that would be absolutely insane. And there is mutual interest of those two teaming up in Minnesota. What about Miami? There's, Pat Riley has had interest in him at the trade deadline when he was originally being dangled back when it was almost a trade to the Warriors or almost a trade to the Mavericks. It was crazy. But, KD ended up staying in Phoenix. Miami and Minnesota still probably have interest in making a KD trade, especially now that the price is lowered. And now the New York Knicks look like there is real interest in a Kevin Durant trade after they've since parted ways with Tom Thibodeau and are looking for some new blood to get over the hump in the Eastern Conference. Shams with this bombshell. He said there was some mutual interest between the Knicks and Kevin Durant at the trade deadline. The Knicks made an offer for Kevin Durant at the NBA trade deadline. Obviously, there was no Kevin Durant trade. That's interesting to me, man. I'm sure that they're going to revisit these talks at some point in the next few weeks here as we get closer to the NBA draft. But the Knicks would be scary with Kevin Durant, no doubt about it. I mean, two of the best isolation scorers in the NBA, Jalen Brunson and KD on the same roster, and with a wide-open Eastern Conference, you probably have the top two players in the East at that point. Like, could Giannis be moved to the West? And at that point, Jason Tatum torn Achilles. Like, things are kind of up in the air. Who knows if Joel Embiid plays basketball anymore? But, the Knicks would probably be the runaway favorite in the Eastern Conference next season. So, like, it would make sense for them to trade for Kevin Durant because he just ends up raising the ceiling of them offensively. And that's what they need to lean into with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson as their core right now. And KD himself, he should want to go to the Eastern Conference. Like, the West is such a logjam right now. The Suns couldn't even make the playoffs this year with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on the same basketball team. So, with him 37 years old, he's still putting up MVP-like numbers. Go to the East and get yourself a real playoff run one more time in your career and cement your legacy just a little bit more. Gambadoro said more about a Kevin Durant trade as well, though, and it might not be that KD looking for the easy route going over to the Eastern Conference. He said people close to Kevin Durant have said keep an eye on the Spurs as a team and a likely destination for a Kevin Durant trade over the next few weeks. And the Spurs kind of have the right ammo to be able to do it, right? Devin Vassell in the 14th pick, throw Harrison Barnes in there for salary filler, and it's probably all done. Like, now, does San Antonio want to give up the number 14 pick? Who knows? Because it feels like the Rockets don't want to give up number 10. So with them lowering the asking price, maybe the 14 pick doesn't even have to be included. It's just a package centered around Vassell. And the Spurs, like the Knicks did, had mutual interest at the NBA trade deadline. Shams reported that as well. And it looks like KD probably wants, or would be very happy to at least, play with Victor Wembanyama, granted that he's healthy and recovers from his blood clots, and De'Aaron Fox as well, who was added. That would be an awesome big three in the Western Conference, and I mean, I'm sure would compete right away to, maybe make the NBA Finals and get out of the Western playoffs. What do you guys think? Could the Spurs win the title with Kevin Durant? I think it's realistic. Like, you got a top 15 stamped basketball player of all time on the roster, and then a legit 7'5" alien who we could potentially call the GOAT one day. Could they win the title? 37-year-old Durant, 20-year-old Wemby? Let me know, yes or no, in the comments section. If that does happen, though, is Giannis Antetokounmpo a New York Knick? Like, if KD, in all likelihood, ends up getting dealt to the Spurs before the draft, is Giannis going to the Knicks? I did not anticipate this being a major story this summer. The Knicks, just made massive trades in the past 365 for Kevin Durant, not Kevin Durant, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and then, you go 6 months earlier and you get OG Anunoby trade last January. So they've made a ton of investments. They've sent out a ton of draft capital. And could the Giannis trade even be realistic? Well, they're trying to pull out all the stops to make it happen, apparently. Gary Wolfel, who's a longtime basketball reporter, is credentialed, for a long time. And he said this, even though he's not the most, populated NBA insider, this is what he had to say on Twitter. He said, could there be a Giannis Antetokounmpo Jason Kidd reunion in New York? There's a report that the Knicks are asking Dallas officials permission to speak to Kidd about their head coaching job that's vacant at this point. Yesterday, I was told the Knicks are preparing to make a tsunami-type offer to acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. Kidd once coached Giannis, the Greek Freak, up in Milwaukee. Whoa! What is a tsunami-type offer? Like I just mentioned, the Knicks sent away a lot of assets to acquire and build the roster that they have in place right now. So what could be going over to Milwaukee in a Giannis trade? Well, it might not be the best overall package that the Bucks see, but this is what a framework could potentially look like, a trade that's getting floated around on the internet right now. And I assume that in pursuit of a Giannis trade, the Knicks would want to keep Karl-Anthony Towns, but I by no means believe that he is untouchable in a trade like this. But in this case, he doesn't go. Giannis goes to the Big Apple for OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and a bunch of first-round picks. Basically everything that New York can offer as far draft capital goes, and that would be Milwaukee's haul. And look, this is not a great package. The Bucks don't win at all here. These picks for New York, in 2030, you'd assume they're still going to be competitive in the Eastern Conference, and you get a swap, you're probably going to be worse than them that season. So, that's not even going to matter. And then you have the 2026 first-round pick, Washington protected top 10. That's terrible. This is a terrible offer for Giannis. So I don't think this is a tsunami by any means. A tsunami, in my opinion, might have to include Karl-Anthony Towns, but who knows? Maybe the Bucks value OG Anunoby more with his defensive prowess over Cat, who doesn't guard anybody. But at the end of the day, this only happens if Giannis demands a trade, one, and demands a trade solely and only to the New York Knicks. The Milwaukee would be idiotic to just send him to New York just because he likes the city. Not unless he says, I'm only playing in New York City, there is no way that the Bucks should even entertain in a draft, a package like that from New York. To me, it at least start at Karl-Anthony Towns, and you might have to include Bridges as well. Giannis, though, he does like the playing in the Garden. He says, I love playing in New York. I think it just brings the best out of me. He's long said that Madison Square Garden is his favorite arena to play in. He loves playing in New York the most out of any city in the NBA. So there is definitely, interest at least in him playing one day for the New York Knicks. But Giannis, to me, is the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to try to keep him, and he is personally, according to Shams, going to be open-minded about finding a new home this offseason. But he is yet to request a trade formally at this point and has not really gotten any closer. There haven't been any hints dropping that Giannis is getting close to requesting a trade at this point. So who knows if he'll actually end up getting dealt. The Bucks are trying to incentivize him to stay by saying, yeah, we got Doc Rivers and the East sucks. Not the greatest pitch for a multi-time MVP, but what else can they really say to him? There are reports that teams don't know if Giannis is actually available. Giannis could, the Milwaukee could just keep him. They could just hold him hostage and say, we're not trading you. You are our franchise, and whatever happens down the line, happens down the line. I think he's got 2 more years left on his deal. So it would make sense this summer for Milwaukee to get the most value out of a Giannis deal, but Teams around the league don't even know if he's actually available. However, there are reports that teams are gearing up to throw some Godfather-type offers at Milwaukee for the Greek Freak. And these are some teams that could also be interested along with New York. And I actually didn't even mention the San Antonio Spurs. They could technically be. I think it would be insane and awesome. Like, send away the number 2 pick. Go pair up Giannis and Wemby. That would be just disgusting. Toronto, they could maybe send away Scotty Barnes. Like, I don't know. They would be going for a full reset. And, like, does Giannis want to go play with Brandon Ingram up in Toronto? That there is some rumored interest between Giannis and the Raptors. But I don't know if that's all that realistic. They do probably have all their draft capital, though. I've never seen the Raptors sending away super big hauls of first-round draft picks. What about Houston? They've had long rumored interest in Giannis, but they'd be sending away a ton to get him. I think he would be awesome there, but they would be the worst shooting team in the NBA, no doubt about it. And then Brooklyn, that's long rumored interest, but like he would need like another player to get involved and like join him in free agency. And would that even happen until next summer because all the free agents suck this year? Like, I don't really know. None of these teams seem all that realistic. And if I was a betting man, I would probably say that Giannis starts next season in Milwaukee potentially. But could the Knicks end up making it happen? Could he say, send me to the Knicks or the Warriors? Like, those are two spots that he could absolutely contend for a title in. And they definitely have the worst packages out of like any rumored interested team in Giannis. But whatever happens, one thing is clear in the NBA. Late June is the new July. Free agency, like I just mentioned, the crop is not great out there right now. And with the way the CBA works, nobody has money anyway. So they're going to have to, if teams around the NBA, if they want to improve, it's going to have to be via trade. And there's going to have to be probably many multi-team trades. 3-team, 4-team, 5-team, 6-team. Like, when free agents sign this summer, they're probably going to have to be wrapped into trades like the Warriors and the Mavs did last year with Klay Thompson. So, like, it's going to be an absolutely hectic summer, but a lot of it's going to happen before the draft, which is less than 3 weeks away. So things are going to heat up very, very quickly here over the next couple of weeks. What do you guys think? Does Giannis end up getting dealt this summer, or does he stay a Buck for life? Let me know what you guys think, and that will do it for today's edition of NBA Now by Chat Sports. Lock us in as the number one spot for NBA news all offseason long. We'll be breaking it right down here at Chat Sports. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. We'll see you guys on the next one. See you then.